So validating DAX in Power BI against whatever source system you're using, SQL, Databricks, Snowflake, can sometimes maybe be a little bit painful or time consuming. So let me show you how we can use Cursor and Power BI's MCP to kind of speed this up. All right, so I'm starting with our sales Power BI PBIX file. I've already got it opened here. I just want to kind of show you guys the total revenue metric that we're going to validate against and the total orders measure as well. So these already exist in the model, and that's what we're going to validate against with our SQL queries. So let's go ahead and pop over into Cursor. So we're inside Cursor. So first, if you're trying to do row level security validation, what I'm going to show you here is not for that. You've got to have a P1 capacity, those XMLA endpoints. If that's something that, you're interested in seeing, put a comment below, let me know, kind of set something like that up. You can kind of mimic it here, which is what we're going to do as far as applying filters and stuff. But to get the true validation, you do need to, log in as a user to validate that. All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and open up the expected results JSON here. And let's just move this agent over a little bit. And we have 3 SQL queries. So we've got our, total orders, total amounts, and we've got that same, query, but a little bit different, right? So for the second and third one, we've got some different customers. And for the third one in particular, if we scroll over a bit, we're also looking where the status is returned. So just a little bit different each time. And I've also added the total orders and total revenue expected output. So we want to make sure that AI is doing this correctly, and this is going to be a way to kind of check against that. And so the prompt that I've got set up over here, and let's just go ahead and take a look, is we're essentially going to, and I've already run this, but essentially ask the agent to, hey, run these queries against SQL itself. So do that first, because we want to kind of do this in real time. Then also use the Power BI MCP and go find the corresponding DAX measures and run those as well. And then put the appropriate filters on there to kind of mimic exactly like what we have for the SQL query. And then when you're done, give us an output so that we can take a look at it. If you don't have the Power BI MCP installed, just ask Cursor, how to do it. Say, hey, can you set this up for me? It'll do that. If you are on SQL Server, Databricks, somewhere else, you need a connection for that, go ahead and get that set up and put that in your env file. If you're using Databricks, there's even an MCP for that as well. So you might use both of those just to kind of align the logic. And then as an output, I just wanted to have it real simple, just something we could go take a look at to kind of see, what was the query in real time from SQL, Power BI, and our expected output. And to just kind of go through and show you what it did here just a little bit. I'm going to keep scrolling down. The first thing it did was just create a Python file to actually go and run SQL. And then when it was done with that, it deleted it. So that was part one. Then it used the MCP to go and, run those DAX measures or those calculations, to kind of see if our data model aligned with SQL. And then when it was finished, and we can see that SQL, getting the environment variables there to open that up. And last but not least, it created that output file for us. So let's just go take a quick look. And over here, we can see that the output that it created was for each query. Let me hide this now. Essentially asking, hey, what was the SQL query? What's the corresponding DAX query for that? And then what's the output, right? This is the SQL output for those. This was the DAX output, from Power BI, and then the expected results. And we can see that for all 3 queries, they all align, from end to end. So this is just a nice, quick way to, validate, Power BI to SQL. So hopefully this will give you guys some ideas. If you gotta, try to do some of these validations at scale, there's a way to kind of, use MCPs to do this locally. But it can also, if you have a P1 capacity, maybe you build something out a little bit more, production grade to run those tests, before you deploy, just to make sure that your queries are aligned or your RLS is aligned. And like I said, if you want to see something like that with the roll-up security, let me know. And hopefully that helps out.